first and foremost, congratulate the sheriff and his staff for doing a great job. I think the first question I would have is, and I'm not sure if you can disclose this or not, but you read the papers, everything else, a motive, you know, you get defendants walking 5 o'clock, allegedly 5 o'clock in the morning, jogging or walking. I've heard robbery, and I'm trying to determine how someone would want to rob somebody walking down the road at 5 o'clock in the morning. They don't have jewelry, they don't have a wallet, or anything of value.
Does this work? Really, as best we can tell, our best guess at this is robbery. We all struggle with that. How could we get to a point where that kind of violence would be inflicted on someone like that? But we don't think like they do. They're in another world, I guess, when it comes to the kind of things that they think about and what would motivate somebody to do something like that, completely unprovoked, out of the blue. We say that because we know they've robbed before, they've assaulted, they've beaten people up, they've done these types of things before, not to this degree, but they've proven they're capable of doing this. And that's our best guess at this point. That's our best guess at this point. We don't really know, and until we get a little bit more cooperation out of them, I guess it'll take some time to figure that out. But you're right, they didn't have anything on them to take her out for a walk. And they happen through there as part of their criminal enterprise. They're out doing things all hours of the day and night, and just happened upon them, as best we can tell.
Thanks. Sure. One additional question. I just want, how prominent are the gangs here in Loudoun County?
How prominent?
Yes.
Do you have a number? 4 major gangs, total number of members maybe?
Approximately 200 validated members.
Probably about 200.
Statistically, are you finding that they're involved in a lot of house breakings, burglaries within the county, or drug work, drug activity?
Historically, sir, the percentage of crimes committed by gang members in the county compared to non-gang members, they're in the very lower percentile of total crime. So, no, they're not committing the majority of the crimes in the county, if that's what you're getting to. But they do commit a variety of crimes.
Thank you.
Sheriff Simpson, please keep standing. I'd like to share a simple but profound thank you from all of us for the work that you and your crew have done, as well as all the other agencies participating. I have a comment and 2 quick questions. I've grown very, very frustrated over the last month over the nuance, over the gang, whether or not we have a gang problem. You even yourself made a comment earlier tonight as to how you can maneuver around whether or not it was in the furtherance of a gang. So maybe you could address that. The 2 questions I have, though, are, number 1, we're living in an atmosphere of trying to achieve more with less resources. How are you prepared budget-wise to address all of these issues across the county, a very, very broad county? And what have you done to communicate up to the Board of Supervisors for additional funding? And secondly, if you could also speak about the recent search warrant that was delivered on a house on Milldam Street, my house, not my house, but 7 or 8 houses away from me.
I'll start with that one first. Maybe you can tell me.
I don't know. I just saw 6 to 8 officers fully ready to go.
Yeah, that was actually a follow-up from a robbery that had occurred on Hay Road a number of weeks ago. The 2 people are in custody on that, so that's really not part of this investigation. About the budget, I think I sufficiently, what's the word I'll use? Communicate? I was going to say activate, but communicate the needs of the Sheriff's Office to the Board of Supervisors. They were supportive this year. In fact, we took no cuts this year like everybody else in the county did. We received no cuts in our budget, which good. I mean, we're going to lose some operating money and some overtime money, but we didn't lose any people. Yes, we're behind where we should be, staffing-wise. It just ends up costing a little bit more in overtime to get the job done, but I think we do a very good job with what we have to work with. We'd like to be further along. We'll just wait our turn, and as the economy improves, hopefully we'll get there.
Well, anybody to your right can feel free to answer that as well.
Well, I can just, this one's on. We, at the last board meeting, and we had a discussion at the last finance committee meeting, that some federal stimulus funds did come down, and I think we got 5 positions out of that, that's funding for over 2 years. And some of those positions, you might be able to run down the list. I know one was like crimes against children, victim.
Several different investigative positions. We have probably the most recognizable, I guess, will be 2 additional community policing officers, and one of which will be assigned to Cascades. So as we get, we're continuing to reach out for grants through whatever means we have possible out there to try to, we've established a lot of programs and a lot of positions throughout the years. By getting grant funding, we're going to continue to do that, and wherever we can find money, anywhere, we're going to try to turn this money into positions. And the last part of your question about the gang issue.
It's more the nuances that you and people in the county have the language that you've used to try and avoid the fact that we do have a gang situation. I'm literally sitting back in my chair listening to the deputy's commentary as to all of these gangs, these noted gangs in our county.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we try to avoid it. In fact, you'll probably see me out there in front whenever I have an opportunity to make that known. I do that. In fact, I started that back in 1995 when I first ran for office, because I literally came from working the street and I knew what was going on out there. We knew the trends that we were seeing. We knew the issues that were coming forward. Law enforcement at the time, schools at the time, the board at the time. This is 15 years ago or better. Didn't want to acknowledge the fact that there could be a gang issue here because it looks bad for business. Well, that's all changed, and we discussed openly about having gang issues, and the fact that as this county grows, we're going to see more of it. The fact that they're entrenched here, they live here, they're part of the community, their families live here. So it's not a matter of, I'm going to get rid of the gangs in 6 months, because that's not realistic, just like I'm going to get rid of all the drugs in 6 months. But we're very upfront with the fact that there are gang issues in this county. When I say we can't say for sure whether this is a gang-related crime, because there's certain criteria that makes it gang-related. It has to be for the betterment of the gang, or for the good of the gang, if you will. Someone who goes out and steals something and they put it in their own pocket, if they're a gang member, doesn't make it a gang crime. If they go out and steal for the gang, then it's a gang crime. So it's someone who may be involved in something because they have ties to gangs, or because they are actual gang members, doesn't necessarily mean some of the crimes they commit are for the gang, making it a gang-related crime. So it seems like we're splitting hairs, but the reality of it is just that, is that we have to reach a certain threshold to call it a gang crime.